Play clock at 5. Pass is in.
I'm living in that 21st century, doing something mean to it. Do it better than anybody you ever seen. Do it, scream from the haters, got a nice ring to it. I guess every superhero need his theme music. No one man should have all that power. The clock's ticking, I just count the hours. Stop tripping, I'm tripping off the power.
That might send the Yankees to the World Series.
Welcome to the pilot episode of Rivalry Sports. Today we'll be discussing the recent Knicks and Celtics game and our expectations for the upcoming baseball season. Well, the Celtics beat the Knicks 116-102 in a dominant win. Luke, what do you think led to this victory for the Celtics?
The Knicks didn't play a great game, and they're also missing a bunch of pieces. So, the Celtics are obviously a great team, too, so it leads to it. They're a great team. They lead the NBA in, record overall. They've been dominant all year, and, yeah, they've just been great. So, it's tough for any team to beat them with full strength no matter what. But the Knicks are also without three starters, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson, and had sort of an off night. They weren't really hitting their shots from everywhere. But, you have to get over losses like that, keep playing. Hopefully we see them again in the playoffs when we're at full strength, and then we'll see then. But overall, the Knicks have had a pretty good year. So, they're up right now. They're the fourth seed in the East. They've been without those three starters for almost a month now. And they've made two trades in season. Both have made them better. Precious Achiuwa has been playing great basketball since he got to New York. And I think the Knicks is just a great comeback season with Jalen Brunson is one of the best players in the NBA. And I think we can make an argument that he's better than Tatum right now.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't say that he's better than Tatum. I think he's a better offensive player right now. He's very hot right now, but Tatum's just a more overall complete player. Both ends of the court, you kind of have to hide Brunson on defense. Knicks can do that because they have, really good wing defenders in DiVincenzo and Anunoby now. But you got to give some credit to the Celtics, winners of 8 straight in a row. They're lapping the competition here for first place in the East. They might lock it up with a week or two left in the season, and then that allows us to rest the starters. But in terms of this game, the only reason the Knicks were really in this was their second chance points. And I think that's what they have that really no other team in the league can do. They just crash the glass so good. Hartenstein, it seems like every other night he's getting a double-double. Precious Achiuwa. I questioned why Achiuwa was in the starting lineup at the start of the game because, you guys just traded for Bogdanović, and he's a really good shooter. I felt like you guys need the spacing, but with his rebounding, it's like I wouldn't even question it. You guys get so many, second chance points, open threes, open layups because of it. And, I just got to give credit to Tibbs. I don't want to play you guys in the postseason. We're not a good playoff team. We're always going to lose to, the Heat, somebody we don't expect. But I think it was a good game. And, Celtics win.
Yeah, you're always going to get out-rebounded against us because Kristaps Porzingis just isn't that good at rebounding. He's small. He's
very, very skinny. But, we don't want him to be injured, so we're not going to make him put on.
It'd be fine if he got hurt.
Yeah. The scariest part is that you guys didn't have your best rebounder in Mitchell Robinson. You guys are playing 4 out, so, it's kind of easy to defend, but it's just really hard to get a rebound against you guys.
Yeah. Well, the Celtics, as you were saying about them struggling in the playoffs, what do you think happens if they go out in the first or second round this year after the regular season they're having?
I don't know what we would do if we went out in the first or second round. I don't know what we would do if we don't win it. There's not a reason to lose the championship this year. It would be completely on Tatum. It would be completely on the coaching staff, and I think Joe Mazzulla would get fired.
Yeah. Okay, well, with that being said, spring training is now underway, and your baseball team might not be having as much success this year as the Celtics, so what do you think about opening day coming up?
Yeah, as a baseball fan, I'm pretty excited for it, but as a Red Sox fan, quite honestly, I could care less. the team's not going anywhere. We didn't. It really is clear that the ownership didn't really care about bringing in pieces to at least help the pitching. I mean, I get not wanting to, spend $50 million on a hitter. Our hitting's fine. We have young guys in Casas, Duran, and Devers. We're fine for the next couple of years with hitting. But, we can't go into opening day with Brian Bayo, a second-year guy who had, a 4.5 ERA, as our opening day starter. It just doesn't happen. We traded one of our good relievers in John Schreiber to the Royals for no reason at all. It just doesn't seem like the ownership is interested in fielding a competitive baseball team. Well, I mean, you're very fortunate to be a Yankee fan right now, as you guys traded for Soto. What do you think is your expectations for this Yankees team?
Well, this has to be the year. I mean, they just traded a lot for Juan Soto. And, I mean, you don't know if you're getting him back this offseason. The Mets are going to go all in for him. So, you got a great roster. You have Aaron Judge coming back. You have Garrett Cole still. So, this has to be the year. You have to go all in. You have to do it. Trade for someone at the deadline. I don't think they're going to sign Blake Snell because it's going to be too much money. But you got to win the division, win some playoff games, maybe beat the Astros in the playoffs, go to the World Series. I mean, that's what it is this year. This is the year where you have to. I mean, you don't know if you're getting Juan Soto back, so this is the year they have to put it all together. Finally, all hit at the same times. Their pitching might be their pitching's never really the issue. It's always their lineup. I feel like that's the issue. So if their lineup hits, they'll win games.
Yeah, I mean, you sound like me with the Celtics. It's really just championship or bust at this point. I mean, you guys pushed all the chips in with that Soto trade. You guys might sign another pitcher. That would really help you guys. I feel like that's your one weakness. I know you said the pitching's never been a problem, but last year, the starting pitching was not great outside of Garrett Cole. If you guys go out and sign somebody even a little bit cheaper like Montgomery, that would really help you guys a lot. But I just question in a really tough AL East if you guys can win even I don't want to say 100 games because it's really tough for anybody to win 100 games, but especially in that division, you have the Blue Jays, you have the Orioles. I don't think you guys even need to win the division to go on a deep playoff run. I think it's just about, getting hot at the right time like we saw with Diamondbacks.
Yeah, but, I mean, they got 5 pitchers right now who you could trust if they're pitching how we know they can. Garrett Cole is obviously a Cy Young last year. Carlos Rodon was a great pitcher the year before. They signed to a big deal. He just wasn't good last year. They signed Stroman this offseason. He could be good. And then you got Nestor Cortez and Clark Schmidt, who both could be solid pitchers for this team. That's why I don't see them spending any more money on starting pitching.
Yeah, I mean, your bullpen is never really the issue. I know you guys lost Wandy Peralta, but you guys have a really good development staff. You're not at the Rays level, but you guys are up there. So bullpen shouldn't really be an issue. But, I think it'll be a good season for you guys, unfortunately.
Yeah, we should. If everyone stays healthy, then they should have a good year.
Yeah. Well, now let's see what Chef Mark thinks about his Mets going into opening day. So today we're here with Chef Mark, and I'm going to be asking him about his Mets. So, Chef, the Mets have taken a lesser aggressive offseason approach, obviously, from last year. How do you feel about how the offseason has gone?
Well, I'm always an optimistic fan, so I would say I'm not too disappointed. I'd rather them not do what they did last year and spend a ton of money and be disappointed. I'd rather build from the farm system. We have a lot of good young prospects coming up. I'm pretty happy with the Acuna trade they made at the deadline. I did like Scherzer. I did like Verlander, but unfortunately they're towards the end of their career. So I'd rather, and I know not re-signing Pete Alonso was a big deal this offseason. We still have a chance to sign him, but I'm optimistic. Every spring, every team has as good enough a chance as everyone else.
Yeah. So the question I have about Pete Alonso, what do you think if you were, Steve Cohen, what would you do with Pete Alonso?
I think I would set a budget and say this is how much we have. The Mets, I believe, right now are paying luxury tax on anyone they spend money on. So it's out of his money. He owns the team, so he's got to be financially responsible. You get to a point where you realize that, you have to build the team and not just one individual. I think for Pete, it would probably the pros and minuses to him staying, he has to think about that from his own point of view. New York City is a big market. There's a lot of opportunities for advertisement and whatnot, and he's very popular, obviously. But he has to do what's best for him. And obviously, no matter how many times I've seen in my life a player say it's not about the money, it usually is significant in signing a contract.
Yeah, with Pete playing first base, I feel like his market price is going to be a little lower because he doesn't provide much defensively. But at the same time, he's a consistent 40 home run guy.
And possibly, to piggyback on your point, he could go over to the AL, and he could be a designated hitter towards, middle to the end of his career. So you could think about that, and his body would probably stay a lot healthier than playing first base.
Yeah. So with the season just over a month away, what are your expectations, I guess? Do you think you guys could sneak into the wild card?
I think it's possible. Unfortunately, the Mets do play in a tough division. Phillies are tough. Atlanta is always tough. Atlanta is one of those teams even as a Met fan, I've always respected Atlanta because they have a lot of homegrown talent. So always have a good pitching staff. They always compete. So it's a tough division. Washington, they give the Mets a battle every time. So, we're a little light on pitching this year. But I'm hoping to stay about 500 and then see what we do after the All-Star break.
Yeah, because with the trade deadline, obviously Steve Cohen, he can make moves. He's not afraid to do it.
Well, it's interesting. We have a new general manager too, so we'll see how aggressive he is, and
yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Thanks, Chef. Now let's send back to the set with me and Luke. Thanks, Chef. That's all we have for Rivalry Sports this week. See you next week.